Hello everybody, welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today, in deck number 741, we're going to talk about Szadek, Lord of Secrets. Seize your deck. Anyway, for the low price of 7 mana, we get a 5/5 flyer that can never kill anyone with commander damage. If Szadek would deal combat damage to a player, instead put that many +1/+1 counters on Szadek, and that player mills that many cards. So, this thing gets out of hand quickly. The only thing that isn't quick is, of course, casting Szadek. So, this is not a typical mill deck because, well, we'll get to it. But first, we have to cast this thing. So, we have the Dimir Signet, Sky Diamond, Burnished Heart. Remember Burnished Heart, we'll come back to this. Guardian Idol, Dimir Cluestone, Dimir Locket. I love me some Ornithopter Paradise. It's not bad for 2 mana, right? And then an Expedition map. Because we are playing blue-black and we might need to go get like our Reliquary Tower or whatever. So, I didn't want to make just another mill deck. My mind kept rotating around this card, Rise from the Grave. Put a creature card in a graveyard, not just yours, in a graveyard. So I was like, I want to fight with other people's stuff. I want to mill it into their graveyard and then use it against them. So it does require a couple of things. You know, it does require some mill. Windfall, Glimpse the Unthinkable, Beautiful Maddening Cacophony. Telemann Performance fits the bill perfect. Fractured Sanity, Fleet Swallower, some serious level stuff. Fraying Sanity, Memory Erosion, and Mind Crank. So, but kind of what I meant to do was, things along. Each player mills 2, and then you get a creature card from a graveyard under the battlefield under your control. So, they're going to have better stuff than I've got, right? So, Demonic Deluge. Exile an instant or sorcery from a graveyard. Copy it 3 times. So, that's a pretty big game. Now, I've got ways for Szadek to, the Trailblazer Blitz is, they might as well have unblockable. I mean, it's not quite Whisper Silk, but it's really close. Fire Shrieker compounds the math like you wouldn't believe, because he deals 5 damage that first time, right? Or he mills 5. So he deals 5, and instead of dealing the 5, he gets those counters, and they mill 5. Yeah, he goes from 5 to 20 quick. I thought the Blade of the Blood Chief was kind of a cool thing, because it's just, whenever a creature dies, he's a vampire. So, yeah, that gets big game real quick. I do have the pair of courts, the Court of Ambition and Court of Cunning, for a little draw with a Sign in Blood. But creature-wise, Dimir Doppelganger, you get to exile the creature card, so it's not there for them to use. There are some decks where putting stuff in the graveyard helps them. But, yeah, for 3 mana now and 3 mana later, it can become, whatever. Night Veil Spectre. You may play cards exile with Night Veil Spectre. Gotta have our pair of crabs, the Hedron Crab and the Rune Crab. Thank you, Danny. Zerasan. You may put a target permanent card from that player's graveyard onto the battlefield and under your control. Permanent. So that's better if you end up milling a Chronos Memorial, whatever. You get to get it. Consuming Aberration. I bought like a whole bunch of these. I say a whole bunch. I bought like 10. but because I just love that card in that frame. Anyway, the number of cards in your opponent's grave, the total number of cards, that's a big boy right there. Fogbank is just a good blocker. White of Precinct 6 is, that's a lot of bang for 2 mana in this particular deck. We have Lv5, right? Lv5 could just become a copy of all that stuff. Of course, the Diabolic Tutor is going to get what we need. Frozen Ether, I have always loved this card. You know, I've played it in niche things, but the past couple weeks I've had this thing played against me, and I didn't realize exactly how crippling this thing is. You're always a turn behind. Always. Haste does not exist for you. It's really good. Have Feldon's Cane in case, our library gets low. Tormoid's Crypt and Tormoid's Crypt Keeper to nuke that graveyard if theirs starts becoming an issue. Diplomatic Immunity is a sweet card. I'm telling you. Enchanted Creature has Shroud. It's got Shroud. I figured Russian Knowledge was a decent draw card because we're probably getting big stuff, right? I mean, even if nothing else, Szadek is 7. Mystic Redaction and Zat's Will. Yeah, I mean, it's another nuke a graveyard thing, if we need it to be. So we have got removal / defense here, right? So, I mean, we do have classic removal in the, Cruel Edict, Ghastly Demise, Murder, Fleshbag Marauder, Infest. Things that will put those creatures into the graveyard, but, Counterspell works just fine. Negate, Mana Leak. Now, Shadow's Verdict, I really like. It's straight up one of those, panic buttons. Whelming Wave, pretty decent. In a pinch of a board clear. Now, I've got the Dimir Charm just because it's a Dimir Charm. Sleep. As a matter of fact, I just woke up myself, but Sleep is a monster in a multiplayer format. I'm telling you, it is real good. Spell Pierce, Thought Collapse, Intervene, Psychic Strike, counter it, and mill 2. And that is going to bring us to our non-basic lands. Went through that kind of quickly. It's a pretty straightforward deck, though. You're going to mill your opponents, but you're not... If you get a mill kill out of it, yeah, fine, but it's not... It's more so Creeping Tar Pit, Evolving Wilds, Fetid Pools, Drowned Catacomb, Terramorphic Expanse, Dimir Guildgate, Choked Estuary, Ice Tunnel, Rogue's Passage, Clearwater Pathway, Command Tower, Grixis Panorama, Temple of Deceit, Sunken Hollow, and Dismal Backwater. And that is it for Szadek. I gotta think that name, and yeah, I use that as the back of it because, gives a little more pop, and I am guilty of doing that. But we're going to go put Szadek on the wall as soon as we get all not crooked. So, 741, start a new row. Now, 742 is going to start our Adventures of the Forgotten Realms decks. I have 2 done already. By the time you see this, probably more, because always building. But I do appreciate y'all watching. Y'all let me know what you think. But right now, I think we're going to go ahead and shuffle.